take flight.
Hello everybody, my name is Skybound,
Starflux.
and we've just got finished watching episode 33 of Boku no Hero Academia. And yeah, we're starting to sort of get into the area where we're seeing more people now. We've kind of left Gran Torino,
Yeah.
so now we're back at the academy, I guess.
Yeah, and we're essentially they're talking about the biggest reveal in this was the All for One and One for All powers and how they're tied together. But I think that was the biggest reveal. But it was also interesting to see how he's improved his powers a fair bit, and he kind of surprised a few people, didn't he?
Well, yeah, I mean, a lot of people will have seen him now that he can now actually leverage some form of control over his abilities, which is more than he had when he left to see Gran Torino originally. Of course, he was still, at that point, when they last saw him, he was still breaking his bones every time he used his quirk, so
it kind of shows that he's no longer doing that anymore. So while he may not be in the top 100% of what's in the academy, he's at least the amount of improvement he's actually had it's kind of quite impressive actually.
Yeah, I mean, for the short time that he's been away, the progress that he's made has definitely he's definitely got more control over his abilities.
Yeah.
And that's going to be really good because obviously that's going to be helpful later on down the line. He is going to need to use those abilities at some point.
Moving on to the whole All for One and One for All quirks, it seems like we're actually being introduced to the end boss, so to speak, the final boss.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense to sort of introduce it at this point, even though there's still another 33 or so episodes.
Yeah, but
there's nearly 70 episodes of the show by this point.
Well, it's also revealed that All Might is actually probably going to be dying at this point because it was sort of subtly hinted. Either that or he's really going to be hospitalised and is not going to be able to help at all. Either he's going to be dying or all his powers are going to disappear entirely.
Well, I think, to be honest, his powers are going to disappear eventually, but it mentioned at the very sort of beginning that battle that he was in, which got him that injury, that caused him some quite dramatic damage, and he even lost some organs as a result of that. So I think ultimately he will die. That's what I'm going to guess, is that he's going to die.
Whether it's at the hand of villains or not is another question altogether. But
whether it's sooner rather than later is one question. Like, is he going to stick it out until whatever fucking episode we're at by the time this comes out?
Because we've got a massive backlog, and that's the reason why you often see Christmas. You can see some about Christmas because in some of the videos they were released in bloody, it was March or something like that, or February. Yeah, well not. Yeah, so
we're not in March yet, so it'll be February.
Yeah, it'll be February. So I'm thinking too many months ahead because.
But yeah, it's curious because once All Might is gone, pretty much Deku only has Gran Torino left who sort of understands what One for All is, really.
Yeah, it seems like One for All is essentially the same power as All for One. It's just that it was all given to his this guy with, I can't remember.
Well, it's the inverse of All for One, essentially. It's the whole sort of All for One and One for All kind of thing. It's basically.
Yeah, but the power that's All for, One for All is basically granted to another user, and it can't be forcibly taken from the current user, but it can be granted on a new user and forced upon a new user, apparently.
But that's the same thing for All for One.
Yeah, so in other words, that's what I mean by that's what I mean by it's the same power, because it's a power that can be. But I think the key difference is that All for One can actually absorb powers. I think that's the key difference between the two. So in some regards, as far as the actual power itself is concerned, it's more the utility of the power is that one for all is basically has less utility because it has less power. It can't take powers from other people. It can
But
only
I'd
give
argue
it.
that it's still pretty effective because...
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it isn't effective.
No, but I mean, it adds on to the existing quirks that a person has. So if someone has, say, for example, so if we take Todoroki, for example, he's got an incredibly powerful ability already, but if he was given the one for all power,
yeah.
he would not only have his normal sort of freezing and fire powers, he would also have whatever powers have accrued within...
Yeah, so it's a power that can be hereditary.
Yeah.
It's a power that can be passed on to various people and it accumulates over time. But this raises another interesting question. What is this the reason? Well, is this the reason why he had to train himself up because he didn't actually have any powers? You know,
Well,
because he was quirkless, wasn't he? So he didn't have any powers to start up with. So what did this all one power actually add? Did it just add all the previous powers and his power, because he didn't have any, didn't get added to it?
well, from what I understood of it, you have to be exceptionally sort of strong to be able to take that amount of power all in one go.
Yeah, especially if he didn't have a quirk to begin with.
Well, yeah, like I imagine a normal hero would exert a lot more energy, have a lot more body mass in general in terms of muscles and all that sort of stuff, because they're going around saving people and using these powers.
So in other words, it would basically boost their powers. Or
they probably still need to train up to use it.
Yeah, because it's got a lot more in there. But I know. So basically, the only reason why it did anything at all for them, was because.
Well, what it did for Midoriya is it basically just gave him power that he never really had.
Yeah, so it just added a whole bunch of power to essentially zero. So basically, it was added to his baseline of nothing. But if it was added to any other hero, it would have actually given him additional powers that would be then traded on to other people later on. So yeah, I could see what. Yeah, it's the subtlety a bit between those two abilities was what I was trying to get my head around when they.
But also it means that if, say for example, we take the example of Todoroki again, if he had the one for all power, okay, and he decided to pass that on, not only would he be passing on one for all, but he'd also be that would also siphon some of his own ability, his ability to control hot and cold. So that would become part of one for all as well.
Yeah.
But it's more of a gift rather than a thing that's like taken. So I imagine it is something that would be passed from hero to hero as one of the heroes starts to die. Essentially, they have to find someone who will be able to accept this, who fits their criteria of someone who is deserving of one for all, and pass it on to them in the knowledge that once they pass it on, that's kind of a sign that they're not going to be around much longer. So they need to kind of realise this is.
Well, I think
my life is almost over. I've got to pass this on.
I think part of it is more to do with the fact that when they do pass it on, it takes away quite a fair bit of their power when they do that. I think that's mostly what. I think to be fair, All Might was, he was getting to the end of his days anyway. He must have known that when he was passing.
I don't think it actually takes away all of their power. To be honest, I don't think it.
Not all of it, but some of it.
Yeah,
it must take some of it away, because.
Yeah, but I mean, like it would have taken some of it away. But I think with All Might, it was just because of that injury. It was just slowly wearing him down.
Yeah, I can imagine that would be. I mean, and then he was also still saving people as well.
Yeah, I think we're not going to see All Might for much longer, unfortunately, because he is a great character, and I think we will be very sad to see him go. But yeah, it's interesting because it also makes me question where Midoriya is going to go with it, because there was like in the early series. Well, actually, it might have also been in like the kind of opening to season 2 as well, where it's just like, this is the story of how I became the greatest hero kind of thing.
Yeah.
So I imagine there is going to be this
Passing on the torch sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it's also going to be interesting to see how you see this, whoever this person with the all for one quirk is. You know, because it sounds like they're being passed on. So it sounds like when it's forced upon somebody, it can actually have really negative consequences. Or if you force multiple quirks onto it, not the all for one quirk is for stuff. Because it seems like that reacted that was slightly different when that quirk itself was forced upon someone.
Yeah. But yeah, it's kind of interesting. I'm keen to see where it's going to go from here. I mean, so far, for the most part, this episode has it's added some story elements, but it was less action packed than previous episodes. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Yeah, I was actually going to give it a 7. Well, yeah, I was going to give it a 7.6 actually.
Yeah. But yeah, it was a decent episode. I enjoyed it. It gave us some more insight into the power of All for One and One for All. And yeah, I guess that's going to play a part later on in the series. So yeah.
Well, I don't think there isn't really much else to say. I think
really.
I think it was just the episode that was filling in details for future episodes, essentially, so it didn't seem so rushed.
Yeah.
But it was done really well, so.
Yeah. Anyway, as usual, I'm Skybound.
Cyfax.
And we'll see you for the next episode of Boku no Hero Academia.
Yeah.
Thank you for watching.
See you.
Goodbye.